Hey guys, welcome back. I'm David and we're here in my shop where I build Ewor guitars. And this is going to be episode 14 where I'm building these two semi-hollow body electric guitars. And it's a giveaway series I'm doing. So when I'm all done, I'm going to be giving one of these things away. I'm going to pull somebody's name out of a hat and ship them one of these two guitars. Anyway, if you'd like to find out more about that, you can click on the link right up here and that will kind of explain the whole thing to you. It also gets you started on the series if you'd like to watch this whole series. But anyway, go check that out and then come on back because I'm going to take you through some of the trials and tribulations I've gone through trying to get finished on these two guys here. I've always had minor issues here and there, and this one here, it just seems like I had a bunch of minor issues. I finally got through it, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. Anyway, go check it out and then come on back. And if you dig this sort of thing, how about you give me a like and subscribe. Anyway, let's get going with the video. So right now, the way we've got it is I've got, both these guys got clear on it. I've got the aqua colored one has 2 rounds of clear, and the purple one has just its first round of clear, which I shot on it late yesterday. And normally I video a couple weeks ahead of time, right? So I'm working on something today, and that won't be for a video that's going to happen in a couple of weeks. Well, all the little hiccups I've had over the last couple of weeks, I'm now caught up. So now I'm videoing this stuff this morning, and I'll be putting it into a video and hopefully getting it out by this Thursday. It's Sunday, so I've only got a couple of days. Remember, this is a part-time hobby thing for me, so I still work a full-time job. But anyway, so I've got the clear on it now, and it's the first time I've used this. I'm using this Tamco Euro Clear. I watched Matt and Chris talk about this on Texas Toast Guitars, and I was out of my stuff. I usually use the PPG Deltron, and I was out, so I thought I'd give it a try. I like it. I mean, I really like it. It laid out really nice. It sanded really well. I sanded this guy before I did the second round on it. Sanded really nice. And so far I really like it. Also tried their matte clear, which I'll get into that later in this video because due to user error, it didn't come out right. And it kind of, I tried it on the purple guitar and it sort of masked the grain, and I didn't, I wanted to bring the grain out, not cover it up. So anyway, most of that was user error though, but I'll kind of get into that with you. So anyway, so yeah, everything was going fine. If you watch my earlier videos, I tinted the bodies, both faces of the bodies. I shot 2 heavy rounds of Syntex sealer on it. Got it all sanded, used all my little sanding tools. I level sanded the whole thing. I used my rubber erasers and my sanding blocks. Of course, I used the Aslix paper. I was sanding it with, I went 360 and 600 on both these bodies on the sanding sealer, and everything looked great. Then I very carefully, I mask off the binding because I use wood binding, and I've never been able to scrape that stuff and have it look right. So I mask it off. I use a vinyl auto body tape. It's fine line tape. It's 1/8 inch wide, and I use that to mask it off. Then I mask off the rest of the guitars, and I try to be as careful as I can with all this stuff because I know how easily things could go wrong. Because what I like to do before I start shooting on my clear, if there's any colors I'd like to spray on, like on the aqua one, I did the neck. I shot the neck with some of the aqua color, which there was a little bit of, I had some hiccups with that too, so I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, so I wanted to go ahead and spray my tints on the tops. I like to redo that. I don't know if it gives a little bit of depth. I'm still trying to figure out how companies like PRS get such absolutely stunning colors and everything in their guitars. So I keep trying different things. I mean, this is, I'm an experiment in action here. Everything I do feels like an experiment to me, and I keep trying, and I think I'm getting a little better each time I do it. It's coming along. Anyway, so I go to spray on my tint, and that's when things started going wrong. Well, it's the big day. The evil twins are going to get some clothes. Well, they're going to get some more clothes. Well, we're going to enhance the clothing they have. So that little video clip I just showed you, I was looking all confident and stuff, had everything ready to go, and I was going to start shooting on my tint. Everything was going to be beautiful, and I would have been spraying clear on it the next day. Didn't go quite that well. So I started with the aqua one. I had them both set. I started with the aqua one, and I took my trans tint dye in aqua, and mixed up a little of the DBC 500, which is excellent stuff, and mixed in a little bit of the urethane reducer that goes with it. And I put a few drops of the trans tint dye in there. I've done this many times before. That's worked out well every time. Mix it up, and it didn't look quite right, but I'm thinking, well, I don't do this every day, so maybe I just don't remember what it looked like. And I mixed and mixed it. I thought, well, let me go ahead and shoot the stuff on there. Not a great idea. If you see something going wrong, you probably ought to stop and do a little more figuring out before you just go ahead and spray it. Anyway, so I started spraying the body, and it didn't look quite right, you know, so I did a coat on it, and then I flipped it over and started shooting the neck, and I noticed, God, it's like thin. It was like I was spraying, I don't know, spraying clear on. I mean, there was very little color to it. There was like little specks on the thing. So I laid it on a little bit heavier. So maybe I'm just not spraying it right. So, you know, when you start making a mistake, the smart thing to do is not continue down that path, but that's what I did, you know. And I flipped it back over and looked at the top, and I don't know if you can really tell me in the video, but I'm getting frustrated looking at it because it looked like I sprayed the thing with some aqua colored sand or something like that. So I was like, well, shoot, something went wrong. So anyway, so I pulled that one down and I got it out of here, and I thought, well, I'm going to move on to the purple one and maybe that'll go better. So this time now, the purple dye I did was a mix of blue and red to dye the top with it, and then on top of that I was going to shoot with the violet color. So I got the violet trans tint out, mixed it up, put it in the DBC 500, and it looked about the same. It just didn't look right, you know. And so I mixed it more, and it just didn't look right. I tried a couple of things. I tried mixing with just the reducer, see if I can get it to blend into that. I tried to mix it just into the DBC 500, see if it, but couldn't get the stuff to blend. I wish I would have stopped on the aqua one like this, but I didn't. So I thought, well, you know, I stopped for a second. I thought, well, let me just try to, I know I've mixed black in that DBC before, and I've mixed the red in it before, and it's worked fine. So I thought, well, let me take a little black and red and mix them together, which should arrive at purple. And I mixed it in the DBC 500, it looked great. It blended nice, it was nice and smooth, and the color was all completely blended into the clear. I thought it looked great, so I went ahead and stuck it in the gun and shot it. And I had I was kind of off my game a little at this point, so I had it mixed a little thicker than I normally would, more color than I normally would have. So it kind of masked the grain a little bit, and though I wasn't crazy about covering up some of the grain, I thought, well, what the hell? I like the color, I really like that color, so I went ahead and went with it, you know. So at any rate, so I got the tint on that one. It wasn't the one I wanted, but I got on that one, but the blue one at this point just had to be completely sanded back down and started from scratch. And then so on the purple one, so I was frustrated with the blue one, so I'm going to leave that aside for a while. And all these urethane things, it's ideal to do your next layer, your next coat within 24 hours, or you got to sand it first to break the surface before you put another coat of something on. So anyway, so then the next day, I thought, you know, I'm going to go ahead and start shooting my clears on the purple guitar. And I'll get back and I'll sand and fix the aqua one at some other time. So I got out my matte finish, the Tamco matte finish, and opened it up, and gosh, it was really thick, you know. I mean, it's got a lot of solids in the matte, that's what makes it matte, you know. And there again, I don't do this every day, and this is a brand new product to me. I think it's a little bit thicker than the PPG flat finish that I've used before. But I thought, well, it has a little different mixing ratio and stuff. I said, maybe it'll all work out okay. So anyway, I mixed it all up, put in the hardener and put in the reducer and everything, mixed it all up. And I mixed it and I put it in this gun. That was another mistake I made. That was the wrong gun to spray that clear on. I've sprayed the gloss clears with this before, and it works really well, although this is my main clear gun. It's the Finish Line DeVilbiss Finish Line gun, which is what I sprayed the clear on both these guys with. It's the one I think I should have used with the matte finish. I think it would have probably been fine. But I decided to go ahead and put it in that and give it a go. Well, it was the wrong gun. which is I think the main deal with that issue I had. But I sprayed it on there, and it was like really, it was just splattering. It just wasn't coming out well at all, because this is a .08 tip, and I think that thick matte clear just needed a bigger tip. That tip in the DeVilbiss is 1.3. Anyway, so I sprayed it, and that didn't work. So in my brilliance, I thought, well, hell, maybe spraying more, maybe I can get it to flow. So I widened it way out, got it pumping a bunch of stuff on there and sprayed it again. It still came out like textured almost. So it was not a good experience at all. So I was like, well, crap. So I ruined the first guitar with the dye I tried to spray on there, and then I screwed up the second guitar spraying that matte finish on there. So anyway, so I just, in my frustration, just put everything away, cleaned up everything, and said, hell with it, I'll come back to it another time. So so I get back to the, and when that matte dried, it almost completely blocked out the rest of the grain. I mean, I still had that color that I really like coming through, but the flaming and everything in that maple top, it was all but disappeared with that matte finish on there. I said, doggone it, well, I'm gonna have to sand that out. At least I could sand it as thin as possible, get it really smooth, and then go back on it with the clear gloss, and I think that'll bring the grain back out. Gloss will do that usually. It'll bring the grain out of whatever you're doing. So anyway, so I start sanding on it. And I don't know if you ever sanded one of these matte finish urethanes before, but it's the same thing with the PPG paints. I mean, it's a lot tougher to sand that stuff than it is to sand the clear glosses, because I don't know, I guess it's because there's a lot more solids to it. But anyway, so it took a lot of sanding to get that texture out of there. It just wasn't an orange peel. I mean, it was almost like a texture, almost like an eggshell, like house paint eggshell had a kind of a texture to it. So I start sanding on it and sanding and sanding. Of course, the wood stuff, I only had very little on it, so that was easy to sand smooth again. But that top, I mean, I had to really work on it. And I like, before I start shooting on my clears, I like having that subsurface completely level, whether it's sealer or a previous coat of clear. I like to have it perfectly level, no little shiny spots. If you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I sanded and sanded and sanded. Next thing you know, I cut through the tint I sprayed on there in a couple of spots. Even though I was sanding by hand, I cut right through the tint, and which to me, it just ruins the finish, because I haven't found a way to cover that type of thing up before. I mean, no matter what I do, it just never come out right. So at any rate, so I did that. I thought, okay, no, as a matter of fact, I did try. I tried to shoot some, I shot some more tint on there. I thought, well, maybe I can mask it and shoot some more tint on. By the time I put that tint on there, it completely blocked out the color altogether. And I said, well, screw it, I ain't doing this. I'm gonna strip that all the way back to the original sealer, and hopefully I don't cut through that Simtex sealer and get down to the base dye, because then I had to strip all that off too. So anyway, finally, yesterday morning, now Saturday morning, I got up early after working on it Friday night, got up early, got out all my sanding stuff, and I started, I think, with 320 and 400 and 600, so I sanded all of the matte finish off I had on there, both layers of tint I had in there, sanded those completely down, and I finally got it back down to the Simtech, and I managed to sand it smooth with the Simtech, got it to 600 grit without cutting through that. And that Simtech's been sanded on quite a bit now, so I know it was getting very thin. So I managed to get it all the way back down to the matte or the nice smooth Simtex sealer, where I could go ahead and start once again with my tints. So this time I took the black and red again, mixed it together. It came out slightly different, but at this point I really didn't care. It looked pretty good on the popsicle stick, and I like the color anyhow. I mean, this is what it came out to be in. So that's probably closer to the original color I wanted than the last time I tinted it anyhow. So anyway, I finally got that on there, and I was like, oh, thank God. And then that same day, so later in the day, yesterday I gave that several hours to dry, and later on that day I went ahead and sanded the aqua body, shot it with the second round of clear, and got this one hanging up on the chain, and I shot it with its clear, and that's where we are today. So a lot of ups and downs getting through to this, but I think I finally got it. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the way the clear looks on both of them. That Tamco product really works nice. finally got my spray guns, I got my brain working right, you know, getting all this stuff together. So anyway, so that's it. So now I'm at this spot. I'll go through one more round on that one. I usually do 3, and I'll do 2 more rounds on the purple one here. And then I should be good. It'll be on to buffing and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I know that was an awful long explanation, but hey, when you're building these things and you don't do it every day, and you know, when you don't do each process every day, you kind of got to refigure it out each time, and that's what I do. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it. My little trial and tribulation deal gave you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So anyway, I hope you like it. If you dig this sort of thing, how about you give me a like and subscribe? And hopefully in the next video, things go a little bit smoother for me. Anyway, you all have a good one. We'll see you soon.